we will focus on a very important and an extremely prevalent aspect in current times, how technology will shape the chartered accountancy profession. I will request Mr. Asthana, Mr. Venugopal, and Mr. Shaji to please turn on their videos.
Hi, thanks, Jasmeet.
Hi. Okay. So for the next session, for this session, we have with us, three extremely talented experts from the two from the CA fraternity, and one extremely talented expert from the technology industry. So we have with us CA Venugopal Gela. We have CA Sanjeev Sanghi and Mr. Prakhar Asthana. Please allow me to share a few words about you, and then we'll move ahead with our discussion. So CA Venugopal Gela, he's a partner at Venu and Vinay. He's an active speaker at ICAI on GST, especially on technology and its implementation challenges. He's an author of various industry-specific handbooks on GST and the man behind the development and managing of cloud applications like TaxSmiles, Insta Financials, and others. We also have CA Sanjeev Sanghi. He's the founder of Digital Accountants with 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur in industrial fintech industry, international fintech industry. He presently works with over 300 overseas clients and provides end-to-end tech-based consulting and accounting solutions. Author of the digital professional book, Sanjeev's vision and mission in life is to empower his fellow professionals to achieve greater success in the profession by leveraging technology. Joining them, our final panelist for the day is Mr. Prakhar Asthana. He is an engagement manager at Acumen Consultancy. He has a diverse experience of over a decade with focus on technology, driven strategy and performance improvement initiatives across multiple geographies with both public and private sector organizations. Prakhar is a graduate from IIT Roorkee and an MBA from MDI Gurgaon. So a very warm welcome to all of you.
Thanks,
Venu, if you can please go on unmute. Yeah. So today's topic of discussion, like Venkatramani sir and Padamchan sir both emphasized on how, technology is going to be very important in the CA profession. There are a lot of AI and RPA, a lot of things happening, and how the CA profession is going to change in the coming days. So I'm sure our audience also have a lot of questions, and to understand how this entire thing, how they can adapt technology in their profession. There are, I'm sure, some concerns also, which today maybe we can, through this talk, help them and ensure that, they can embrace technology in their profession going forward. So any initial words from you, or before we can move to the questions?
Yeah, I can say one word, Jasmeet. Good afternoon and happy CA Day to all of you. I think the mantra which we should start with the session is, let's bring technology to our accounting. I think that's the first thing we should have a mindset to do that. And with that, we can start the session. Yes, Jasmeet, go ahead.
Sure, great. So, my first question is to you, Mr. Sanghi. There was one question from the audience also. Currently, all of us are going through this pandemic. Most of us are, working remotely and all. So how has this lockdown and everything changed the role of a CA? So if you could please address that.
So I think, thank you, Jasmeet. And again, as I said in my opening remarks, very happy CA Day, and I would like to congratulate Tally to bring up this kind of discussion in front of all the accounting professionals. This pandemic is actually a positive risk, I would say, because in my 20 years of journey, when I was trying to get people understand how important is this technology for them, it was not there. So now everyone, not just the professional, also the client have started understanding that change is something which is important. What has changed is, post lockdown and post COVID is, we were, our mindset has changed. We have started thinking that, we have to become a future ready consultant. We have to go from compliance to reliance. And most importantly, what we used to do in the past, there are two situations. Either, we can think that we are just a solution provider. We are just, trying to, get through with this situation, or we are rediscovering ourselves. And when we say rediscover ourselves, what we are doing is we are working on hindsight, basically on historical data. But today, what client has started expecting is insight and foresight. And we have to start moving our vision to work from on the insight model as well as the foresight model, and be a problem solver for the client. Because now the client's expectations has changed, and we need to get more innovative, more collaborative, and based. So I think those area is very important. Learn all the relevant technologies which allows them to access work, client, documents, and manage the team anytime from anywhere.
Great. So definitely it is a positive sign, because now people have started taking digital adoption more seriously, and they are trying to be future ready. That's a really positive sign, a very positive perspective of what people are looking at. So, Mr. Venugopal, the next question to you on the same lines will be, like I just said that most of us are working remotely. Work from home is like the new norm. So for the CA community, how do you see this? Yeah, how do you see this fare out once we resume to the normal? Like once all this situation, subsides, do you think work from home will be a new norm for the CA community as well?
So it was again a very valid question, and it is there for most of the CS. And on this CA day, where all the CS cherish, this is something which, a question which we should also put it in our thoughts, saying that, is this going to be a new normal? Because as a finance professional, we have never envisaged working from home. And work from home is a new concept. Work from home has come up. Given that this is there now, how can we convert this challenge as an opportunity? And I really see, as Sanjeev said, this is definitely going to be a new norm. And I have already started seeing that people automatically started looking at having an internal quality review of the audits, bookkeeping, filing of returns, opinion drafting, online trailing, payroll processing. These are the functions they are looking at. If someone has to come to the office and do this, why can't they sit at home and do that? And this is something I see is going to happen 1 year from the now or 2 years from now. There would be an increase in people who will be doing a work from home, is my view.
Great. So people are moving towards it. They have started adopting work from home ways of working remotely, and you feel that in the coming 1 or 2, maybe 2 years, the profession will see a lot of not forced but general work from home as an option.
Yes.
Okay, great to hear. I'm sure everyone in audience must be thrilled to hear that. Mr. Asthana, my next question is to you. Just there's a lot that Venkatramani sir and Padamchand sir said about technology disruption. All of us know there's a lot of technology disruption happening in the overall business scenario. So how do you think that it should be perceived by anyone, like maybe a businessman or a CA per se? Since we have a lot of CAs in the audience, would you like to please take that?
Thanks, Jasmeet. First of all, I think happy CA Day to everybody. And rightly as you said, it is not just about how the technology is disrupting the CA profession. More important to understand how it is impacting the business overall, right? Whether it is business operations or consumption patterns, education, healthcare, whatnot, right? It is disrupting everything. And when I say today, it is not just because of COVID, right? That is something which is happening recently. And yes, I agree that it has definitely increased the adoption of technology and left little choice for us, right? However, even before COVID, we can all agree that technology was already disrupting everything in our life. So we will talk about how it impacts CA, but I think let us talk about how it impacts businesses in general first. And we can maybe look at the key stages of a business cycle to start off with, which just very briefly touching upon it starts from, let's say, the order booking, recording of the order in books. Then we finally provide or receive both the services. We complete the payment, and finally you close the book and file the return. Now, as you all can yourselves point, I'm sure there are innumerable examples, where technology has changed all aspects of it. There were days when people used to go to the CAs with books, right? Now we are doing remote sharing, auditing remotely. There were days when return filing was an elaborate exercise. You got to go to the tax office with, a lot of files. Now, so much of that is happening online. Beyond that, if I talk about other aspects of the business, there were days when employees used to come and sign in the registers for their attendance. Now we are talking about fingerprint, swipe cards, even retinal scans and RFID for marking yourself as present. So companies like Tally Anyway are leading many of those disruptions. Taking even a step back from the business operations, the business models, of course, are also changing. We have new sources of revenue, new types of expenses to, worry about, new ways to earn profit. Companies are earning profit not by selling, but by getting people to subscribe and showing them ads, right? Other examples that I can take, there are cases where now orders from aggregators come, and by the way, everything is getting aggregated, right? We have marketplaces for almost everything. So now aggregators will send their orders, the recall will happen automatically. There are applications where the entries will get scanned and posted, which they lead to auto GL entry and auto connection to the supplier systems, right? Which will, of course, also change the way that the CAs will operate and the role that they have to play, right? And as I said, COVID has just increased the rate of that adoption, and there is no choice today rather than to adopting it. Now, coming to the second part of the question, where you ask, what we should be doing or what is the attitude anybody should have towards it, right? So we realize that we are in an ever dynamic change phase of the technology. It is going to happen, and it is encroaching not just business, all aspects of our life. It is an inevitable fact. And like all other inevitable facts, it is better to embrace and grow with it rather than fear and resist it. Now, I suggest everyone, whether it is CAs or otherwise, should try to move from a stage where I fear to an embrace stage. And that is the best way to address it. So now let us understand what is the fear of. It is a fear of unknown. I don't know what machine learning is. Do chatbots really work? What exactly is blockchain? I'm not sure, right? These are similar questions to we as non-professionals of finance will ask when I wonder, should I credit or should I debit? Is accrual a type of entry or is it like a bookkeeping or both? And by the way, I'm still not sure on some of those. So coming specifically to CAs, what you have achieved, what you achieve on a daily basis is unprecedented, right? When we compare to what technology challenges are posed to you. When we talk about everybody can use social media, but not everyone can, audit books of accounts of, countries which have multi-country operations across big conglomerates, right? However, in today's world, technology embracement is what will set you apart because the other things your peers are also doing. That is what will differentiate you from the other finance professionals. And by the way, it is for the good and the bad. If you adopt it, it is something which is going to, go as a positive for you. Otherwise, it will be something which is not good. Finally, I think if as a CA, I am technology friendly, I can hold any kind of discussion with my clients. I can get into the financials of any kind of business model. I can be flexible to work with my clients in any manner they want, right? And I think to summarize, the attitude we should have is disruptive technology is a part of life. We all know it. Better to embrace it instead of resisting it, right?
Great. Thank you so much. So like, as you rightly said, that technology disruption was already happening before COVID, but I think with COVID and lockdown and forced remote working, it has taken up speed, and definitely technology adoption is what will keep all of us, ahead in our careers, and especially the CAs listening to us. So moving on that point, I would like to know, Mr. Venugopal, from you, between cloud and traditional desktop, what would you recommend? What are your opinions on that? Sir, you're on mute. Vengopal, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. Please go ahead.
It is little tricky to answer because it all depends on the type of application, the level of deployment, the type of user who is using it, and the external environment. For example, if someone is carrying a handheld device to a customer location and doing a billing, I can't expect a cloud application to work. And also there is a misnomer about the cloud and something which is a fully cloud. Now there's a difference between a desktop application and something which is hosted on a cloud, which is still a desktop application. In fact, most of us during the lockdown period had worked on Tally remotely. Some of the service providers facilitated to host this application on a cloud, and people logged into a cloud and worked. Now, if I have to ask some of the simple questions, between Microsoft Excel, Google Sheet, between Tally versus QuickBooks, between Zoom versus Google Meet. Now, there are desktop applications and cloud applications. Now, I can't say that this one is bad, another is good. Everything has its own merits. If I have to broadly categorize the cloud computing application, we start with the desktop, then move on infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. And this software as a service is, I would call, as an extreme and to the other side. Now, most of the applications will be from this end of the spectrum to another end of the spectrum. So one has to carefully choose which kind of application would suit them. If I have to talk about the future that is coming in, most of the future application would be a web-based application. Like if I have to talk from the history, way back in 80s, we had this COBOL and mainframe programming. But today, if I ask, is there COBOL and mainframe programming? Definitely no. 90s, we had evaluation of object-oriented programming language, C++ came in, then Java came in. Today, people talk on Python, artificial intelligence, machine learning applications. Now, the point which I would like to make it is, whether it is a desktop application or a cloud application, both has its own advantages and disadvantages. You got to analyze, looking at various parameters, the type of user, the type of environment in which you are deploying. All those parameters would matter. I wouldn't say desktop is better or the cloud is better. That would be my answer.
Thank you, sir. So definitely both have their pros and cons. One must analyze, see what kind of usability they need, what kind of applications they need, and then they must decide between the two, which is going to suit them the best. So thank you very much on that. Moving ahead, my next question is again to you, since you are an expert in technology around in the chartered accountancy profession. So wanted to understand how much has AI and RPA, which is robotic process automation, gained in the finance profession, because we heard both the experts before you talking about AI and ML, and they've touched upon a lot of these things. So I'm sure the audience would want to know what exactly it is that you guys are talking about, and how they can leverage this AI and RPA and ML.
Okay. AI, ML, RPA, these have become the buzzwords today. Every software company or any of the technology company, they would say that, okay, we are working on implementing a project. Now, if I have to take it from basics, each one of us, if we have to look back when we started our career in the CA, or most of the youngsters wouldn't definitely be knowing it. Way back in 90s, how are we filing returns? We used to manually fill the application form. Those days, preparation of financial statements means it starts with preparing trial balance because everything was manual. Simple task of computing income tax liability we used to do using a calculator, divide the income into slabs. But today, just the same thing. IT return preparation is automated. Financial statements get automatically from the software, from the accounting software. We get the financial statement, grouping, presentation, everything software takes care of. Income tax computation, if I have to ask someone to do it, they need a system. Like it takes a while if they have to use a calculator. So we moved from calculator to computer. And now we are moving from doing things in computer towards doing things by computer. And if I have to talk about RPA, in fact, the Visual Basic applications in Excel, the macros VBA, I would say that as first of its kind of RPA, which we are aware, and most of the CA officers have been using for some of the other applications. What would be going off? In fact, if I have to say, will I start using AI, ML, RPA in my day-to-day activities? The answer is straight yes. Going future, you are definitely you're going to have these things as the order of the day. If you list out the tasks you do in your office every day, every month, on a priority, low priority to high priority in terms of a human involvement or a brain or an intellect involvement, the low hanging fruits, which may be data entry job or rule based activity, everything would go off. Computers would be taking off. In fact, a simple rules would be automated, and we have been seeing today, like some the earlier speaker said, most of the time accountant need not understand debit credit. Today, a technology persons are preparing the reports and the software coding. Debit credit system does, like accountant just do a sales invoice. He does a receipt entry. He is not doing typical debit credit in the ERP system, is taking care of it. Computation of income tax, amortization of depreciation, all these things have gone up. What is currently happening is transaction classification. Today, the tools are available. You download your bank statement, it will automatically classify the transactions into these kind of transactions, and it will do an auto posting of things. Reconciliation statements. When a statement comes from a vendor, it is automatically reconciled and presented. In fact, the classic example I could say is GST or 2A downloaded from the government portal, reconciled with my input tax credit register, wherever not matching, an auto email to the vendor. Timely reminders of the due dates, or the legal technical search using a keyword. I just search something and the data repository comes in. Preparing a management information reports or forecasting. These are the things which already currently exist. So which means we already unknowingly started using some of the artificial learning things. So the softwares which we are using are becoming little intelligent, and the days to come, it would become even more intelligent. And especially forensic audit, the transaction exceptions. In fact, forensic auditors would reclassify all the transactions and do the comparison. Real-time audit, as the transaction is getting posted, a concurrent audit the systems are going to do. The litigation management is going to come up automated. The chatbots are going to come as a help to give you a basic answer. Today, there are so many notifications in GST. I do not know what is the current due date, say for the month of April. Just a question to a bot. Bot would come up with all the relevant notification and say, this is the final notification, and do it. Maybe what it cannot do today is, I have paid an excess penalty. The penalty got reduced. Will I get a refund? The bot might be saying, I do not know. But in the days to come, the bot is going to do that also. So trust me, AI, ML, all these are even though buzzwords, they are definitely going to take up a huge role in the CS practice. So I would all of you to consider adopting technology as the way forward.
So I want to add two new examples to what Venu just said, based on my experience working on a day-to-day basis. When we are doing accounts payable management system, there's an important role of OCR technology, wherein all the invoices are scanned, and through OCR technologies, you get all the vendors' data populated, and it gets entered into the AP management system. It is recognized, it is entered as a bill, and then send us reminders. You can make the payment online. So the entire process of AP management system is automated right now through OCR technology. Another good example is, as what Venu has said about MIS. Now the future is all about connection. It is basically connecting different platforms. Like if you talk about Power BI, if you talk about Clipfolio, if you talk about Tableau, like those are online KPI dashboards, a financial dashboard wherein you connect with various data sources, and you can build a 1-minute manager or an automated interactive dashboard which you can present it to the management. That serves a great service to our clients, wherein you are not processing huge transactional data, but you're actually putting relevant information and actually populating that into an interactive screen. So yes, these are also possible through these technologies. You can take it from.
Great. Yeah, great examples, and great insights on how it is going to definitely change the accountancy CA profession, and it is the right time to take that step towards technology and digitization, and start learning and gauging what is there in this in the industry, and take advantage of it. Great, thank you both of you. I would like to understand from Mr. Asthana, what CAs can do to make this technological advantage as an opportunity. Because, Mr. Venugopal rightly said, these are the buzzwords, AI, ML, and RPA. But I think for a lot of them, it might be a threat as well, that, they've been in this profession since so long, and all of a sudden these hefty words they are hearing, and there can be a threat. So, if you can give some examples of how they can, utilize these technological advancements as opportunity and not look them as threats.
Sure, absolutely. So as I think it connects back to what I said in the last question also, that something which we perceive as unknown basically becomes a threat, and something which we start getting into the bits and pieces of starts becoming an opportunity for us. So I think two broad areas that I feel we can look to, and we will go into the details. But those two I think are, first, that I think CAs should look to, at least at a high level, understand and be able to work with all aspects of technology that the businesses are today using. Secondly, the CAs should themselves be able to work with their clients in a digitally conducive manner, right? So I'll get into each of them in some detail. Coming to the first point, if you look at the businesses today, there are so many technological advancements and new things which we're talking about. Commerce, machine learning, AI, all the buzzwords we talked about. There are aspects of social media, mobile and mobility, cloud computing, blockchain, big data. Everything has to be everybody has to be comfortable with those things, including CAs. As I said, at a high level, we should know what they are and what they can do, and what impact that they can have on our clients' businesses, so that whenever it comes up in discussions, we are not at a loss of what does it mean. We don't have to become experts for sure, but we should be conducive and be aware of what they mean. The second, also very important, and I think it connects to what Venkat sir also said, businesses today also expect their CAs to be flexible and technologically friendly, so that they should be willing to work remotely. You use video calls, you use cloud applications, use soft copies of documents instead of hard copies, things like that, right? The basic notion is that we are working with our clients to help them better serve their customers. But as service providers, we should also strive to help our clients, in the best manner possible. That is what is an unsaid expectation, and that is what can set us apart from our peers. And as you talked about examples, I'll take a few. And Venu sir also covered the MI and AL, machine learning and AI part. And I think they are buzzwords. We call them buzzwords till the time we don't understand them. But even though with buzzwords, it is not just for the Googles and Amazons and Microsofts of the world, that they will use it. Companies around the world across industries are utilizing this technology in a variety of manners, whether it is managing customer relations, planning my production, forecasting my sales, building my competitive strategies, doing employee management. It's being utilized in a variety of manners. However, what is the essence of AI is, I think, what we need to understand. If I can just, take that one example, it is the ability of the machine to replicate human behavior, as simple as that. And how will that happen? It will basically get sharpened by lots and lots of data on what was the scenario on which the machine took some action. When it goes through a lot of examples of that, the machine can then start learning and replicate human behavior. If you do a simple garbage in and garbage out scrutiny of the situation, it will tell you if the data is flawed, the outputs that the machine learns on and the replication of behavior is also going to be garbage, which is where the opportunity for us comes up. That as CAs, we can become the custodians and guardians of those data, especially in the domain of finance and accounts and the other related areas. As I said, I think it is important to step out of our comfort zones and try and see the client in the manner that they are a business, and what is the value addition we can do to them at an overall level. Other examples that I think I can give, today, a lot of work that is happening is automated in systems. Processes are being automated in systems. Therefore, things like internal audit might soon become redundant and we might not really reuse it. Instead of trying to establish control mechanisms in companies, what we can do is talk about process improvement. We can have a discussion with our clients and talk about what you can do to improve your process. How can it get automated? What is the insights to business planning that we can take? As I think Venkat sir rightly pointed out, the personal touch is very important. It is about being a partner in their growth, not just for the services that they require you for. I think that is where it is important for us to see how we can transform our careers, become advisors and enablers, right, rather than just auditors.
Correct. So the examples actually make the picture a little more clearer that what these buzzwords, so to say, can help us in. And as you rightly pointed out, the clients do expect, it's an unsaid, in sometimes a said expectation from the client to that we adapt the technology and this is there at the best. So yeah. Continuing with that, my next question would be to Mr. Sanjeev Sanghi. Sir, what are the key challenges that a CA firm faces? And we are all talking about digital transformation. So what are those important factors that can drive digital transformation? If you can please shed some light on that.
When we are speaking, to all the participants about artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, IoT, in the back of the mind, many attendees may start thinking, well, these are just words which I don't even understand. How is that important to me? I am facing my regular challenges. I am facing a challenge of how I can manage my work, remotely. I had, been sitting in my office or at home, during this pandemic situation for 2 or 3 months, and I was not able to manage my work, not manage my team, my documents, my client. And, these are the key challenges which I'm facing. And over and above that, now everyone is looking for a one-stop service. Everyone is looking for a remote service. How am I going to cope to all of these? Then I'm looking for a lot of standardization in my approach, a lot of training in imparting that in a different way. So there's a sea change, and there are a lot of challenges associated with it. So what I would suggest, because this is the favorite subject which I always talk about, is let's drive digital transformation, not only in our organization, but also to our clients once we get over and above it. Now, what is digital transformation and how should we take it forward? It's a very simple thing, is a change in each and every aspect of what we do, and it starts with 3 important pillars. The first pillar, which I will say, is the mindset, where we have to start thinking that we need to bring the change. We need to be the driver for our organization. We cannot just purchase a software, buy a software, and go back to our office and give it to one of our team member or key member and say, hey, why don't you implement it? It is us who is going to drive it. It is us who is going to bring the change. And software is not the solution. It's the mindset of getting the entire team on board. I remember a case study wherein in a single organization, just to put in the attendance sheet by each and every person to follow that discipline took me at least for 2 weeks to 3 weeks for everyone to accept it. There will be huge challenges, huge blockages, huge confrontation from the team members as to why they will adapt to this new mechanism if at all we want to bring certain things. So I think the mindset plays a major role. The second important aspect, which I will say, is the skill set. Now, when I talk about skill set, is basically acquiring new skills. Going back to all the different, learning videos, talking about Excel, what Venu has said about macros, about automating the process templates, getting different SAS-based software, like SaaS-based softwares for human resource management system, for project management system, for accounting on cloud, for different aspects of all what you're looking for. Get into Google, look for those softwares, identify how much that is matching our requirements, go back and learn these softwares, see how much that is matching with our objectives, and start working on that directions. And many of the time, it always happens to us, where the chartered accountant comes back to me and says, "Sir, tell me one best software which you think is good for document storage, which is good for project management, which is good for human resource management." I said, every software is a great software. You just start to take a baby step. Start working from Excel. Start understanding your data. Start understanding the objectives behind it. And that's where the mindset and the skill set makes a major role. And the last but not the least is the tool set. That comes as the last option, where you need to identify the right tools which match with your organizational objectives. I think these three pillars you need to undertake to go journey from caterpillar to butterfly. And it's not an easy journey. It is a tough journey. This 1 year, and thanks to COVID, as I say regularly, we have been creating a mindset to go and walk through the journey of converting ourselves from caterpillar to butterfly. And that's all about digital transformation. Over to you, Jasmeet.
Great. So, previously also you said that COVID is bringing those positive changes. Again, you reiterated. I think that's a very big takeaway for all of us present here, that, we are looking at the negativity, but there are a lot of positive things happening around us. And like you rightly said, that, the mindset change, the skill set upgradation, and then it comes to the kind of tools that one wants to adapt. So definitely, that will be a journey, as you how beautifully portrayed, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So yeah, thank you very much. And I am sure the audience present has a lot of questions to understand, clarify their doubts on how they can move ahead this path of, technology, digitization, and automation. So we have a question. I'll just read those questions verbatim, and I'll pose those questions to you. Please take these questions. The first one we have is, how can a chartered accountant grow their firm digitally under ICAI's Code of Conduct? So, Mr. Sanghi, if you would like to take this one, please.
Again, this is my favorite subject, and this is a very new subject which.
So your voice is breaking again, I think. Hello.
Let me.
Yeah, your screen was freezing. I think it's fine now.
It's fine now. Yes.
Yeah, it's good to go.
So I was saying that this is a favorite questions which many accountants, especially chartered accountants, ask me. Sanjeev, it's all about technology. We will learn how to manage our work, our client and team. But most importantly, we want to know how we can grow our firm digitally. Now, is it the first thing which we wanted to know is that how we can grow? And the second thing is that, is it not against Institute Code of Conduct? Being a part of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, I just want to reiterate that this is not against Code of Conduct, but what we need to understand is the fine difference. Let me first make you understand the fine difference. The difference is what Institute of Chartered Accountants of India says is that you're allowed for a pull model and not a push model. Now, what's the difference between a pull model and a push model is, in a push model, you are actually pushing yourself. You are going back to the world and saying, I'm the best chartered accountant, I'm the cheapest chartered accountant, or I do better than anyone else. Now, this is like pushing yourself. But pull is basically when you are talking about your specialization, when you are trying to create your own website, your blogs, your articles, your YouTube channel, your presence, and you are sharing your expertise to the entire world of what you are relevant for, what you are specializing in. I think that is where Institute has no objection, and that's the roadmap for growing your firm digitally. I just want to give a quote of Benjamin Franklin, which is very important, which is the first journey which you take to grow your firm digitally. Like, it takes many good deeds to build a good reputation, and only one bad to lose it. So I think what happens in a digital reputation journey is you have to understand all the attributes which you hold. Number one, do you have a presence in Google? Like, if you type in Google your name, do you see that in the first page? Do you see your articles, your videos, your YouTube channel talking about your specialization? Are you going through a journey of specializing by industry or by service? Like, when we know Venugopal, we understand that he's a person of GST, the person of technology. So I think he has attributed his name with these two fine words. If you go back to Bimal Jain and you go and type in YouTube, you will see more than 40,000 subscribers for him. What are they doing? They are not going against the code of conduct. I'm just giving an example. Like, Shailesh Bhakti is also my partner. He's a part of, I'm just giving examples of chartered accountant. He has come up with his own podcast, and more than 10,000 people have actually listened to the podcast, which no other chartered accountants have done. Like, how many of us have a website? How many of us are writing blogs? How many of us are creating YouTube channels? How many of us are portraying our case studies? How many of us are actually specializing in one single industry? As I said, we work only for pest control industry in America. And what we do is that we don't have any other client other than a pest control industry. And we go back to those clients and say, we understand your industry better than any other accountants. Now, these companies or these clients come back to us and say, you understand our industry average. That's what Mr. Venkata Ramani was saying. To have a personal touch, we go back and say, we understand your numbers. We understand your material percentage. We understand your labor percentage. We know how to make profit in your industry. So we are not just working as a compliance officer, filing the GST return or getting the tax audit return. What we are doing is that we are working in close hand with them, understanding the industry. And once you start doing that, picking up an industry, whether it's a paper industry or a real estate industry, or you pick up a service, you start planning your entire process around that. You create your social media around that. You build up a client relationship management software, and you start fishing for it. Which means you do a funnel marketing wherein you put all the leads and the database, and whoever is coming in your social media, whoever is kind of downloading your articles, listening to your videos, liking your Facebook, giving comments, they all get inside that net. And you start creating a lead score for them. And then eventually, after 6 months to a year, if you go back to those prospective leads of yours and say, hey, I want to talk to you, these guys already know about you. They know about your specialization. They know much about you than you say. And they say, well, we were looking for you. You are the person who understands us so well, and we had been following you for such a long time. This is how you can grow your firm digitally, and this is the roadmap you can take it forward.
Great, wonderful perspective, and I'm sure people would want to do that, because in this time of that we're talking about, we are in new client acquisitions, and reaching out to new prospects is something that every firm would want to do. So really, some really great insights and points there. We have another question. This is how a CA or a CA firm make best use of technology to keep ethics of ICAI is followed and maintaining arm's length distance with client as auditor. I think this is more or less that you have right now said. So maybe we can look at another question. We have someone wants to understand how can we contribute. how can we contribute to help with upcoming AI and digitization? So
Okay, I
anyone
would
of you
like to
would
take,
like to? Yeah.
yeah. So the one thing when it comes to the software, and when we talk about CA has to become tech savvy, CA has to adopt technology, AI, ML. When I say this, I never meant that you should start now learning the coding of Python or getting into it. Understand how the technology works, and as Sanjeev ji rightly mentioned, have a software, whatever it is, begin the journey of having the software, implement it, and understand the capabilities of what a software can do. Go back to your service provider, mention to him, this is what I am expecting. Let me take a smallest example of filing of your monthly returns, be it a TDS returns or a GST returns or PF, ESA, or any of the returns which you do. Can I have my practice management tool say these are the due dates and it needs to be filed within due date? Send a reminder. If the data comes, help in filing. After filing, just track them. These are a small things. But once you begin this baby footstep journey, then you are moving ahead of machines taking over you. I am not against with this tax filing softwares. You will find a lot of online softwares which help the clients filing software. They are actually ahead of the curve. They are taking the business of the chartered accountants, which earlier they were doing it. So how you can help in AI is adopt technology, use the technology is my answer.
Yeah, and if I can
Great.
briefly add to that, the one aspect of utilizing technology is how it can be utilized for our own ease of business. The other is also how, if we are conversant with it, when we are interacting with our own clients, is when we can identify opportunities for them to utilize technology. If I know what AI can do, and if I know what the business of my client is, what is it that they are trying to achieve in the recent future, I can suggest to them, that okay, this is a tool which has helped my some of my other clients to achieve these kind of benefits. I think if there is a scope for your organization to adopt the technology, and you can take it forward in that manner, that is the kind of benefit also that you can get from technology, which elevates you from become, as you said, the auditors to basically partners of their growth.
Great points. The next question that we have is by Himani Sharma. He wants to know how to best utilize this pandemic time by CA in practice, as there is not much work to do. So
I can take a start, and then when you can add to it.
yeah.
I think this is the best time. I don't think so. There's any other time which is better than this time to upskill ourselves. So if you don't have much clients, it's very important. I can give you a case study of a chartered accountant, because people love to hear stories. And there was a very young chartered accountant who used to work in Deloitte, and then he shifted to PwC, and then he started his practice. And then he came back to me and said, "Sir, I've been doing this practice, and now in this pandemic, I don't have enough client. What should I do?" In these 3 months, he has learned all the tools which Power BI, which macros, Power Query, and Tableau, and all these data. He started working and subscribing to this courses and different YouTube learning courses. And today, in just 3.5 months, he's more or less a data scientist. And he's getting so many work. He's getting so many work of developing a digital dashboard, developing a configuration of coming up with forecasting. So he has developed his own practice by just spending the entire time, while sitting at home, learning and learning and learning. So I think this is the best time to upskill yourself, to learn and learn and learn. Venu, if you want to add anything, what I have missed, please.
Yeah, just one point which I would want to add is I wouldn't want to specifically say like only try doing this. If you put a thought in yourself that you are handling one client, can I handle 10 clients? If I'm handling 10 clients, can I handle 100 clients? Or if I'm handling a client with 50 crores, can I handle a client with 5,000 crores? I have 5 employees. This is my office space. Can I now work with 100 employees working remotely? If you start putting thoughts into your mind, how can I do that? And virtually many things are possible. And as Sanjeev ji was rightly mentioning, that you can now start building an amazing dashboards to the management. See, management knows business, but we have an intellect of analyzing and presenting in a more information way. If we can understand what is my skill set, I am good in GST, so I can take up these things. In any of the domain which you are thinking of, you can upgrade your technology skills and definitely you can excel. So the answer to it is just go back and think, what do you want? And it is possible.
Great. Thank you so much. Most of the questions have been responded. There are some questions due to the paucity of time we won't be able to take here, but be rest assured that you will get the responses. We'll share the responses with you. And now that we have the experts with us, I just wanted to say that the insights were extremely helpful. And for the benefit of the audience, if it will be great if you could summarize your thoughts, maybe in a word or a line, and leave us with that thought. Mr. Asthana, if you would like to go.
Yes, please go ahead, Mr. Venu. No, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. So because I always, whatever is done, technology is my favorite. I would say a technology CA would be a virtual master of the financial world. Just that, be ahead of machines.
If I want to end up my session with a one single word or a line, I would say a right mindset, a futuristic mindset. Because a mindset, today when we are all sitting together, we are only trying to build a mindset. We had been doing this business. We have started our practice 20 years back, 30 years back with a mindset to explore, to do something different. And today is the time to go back and do something. To develop a right mindset, if you have that will to do something amazing in the current situation, you can create wonders. So mindset is something which needs to be understood, and that takes 80% of our transformational journeys to go forward. Thank you.
I think I'll end up with 2 actually instead of 1, if you allow me, Jasmeet. Just 1 on the lighter side and 1
please.
maybe on the heavier side. Let's call it that. So, I think the summary of what I want to help you walk away with is, let us face the fear of unknown, and we should not resist but embrace technology. And taking some cues from the earlier session, we talked a lot about IT. So I think IT to you is income tax, but it is time that IT also starts to become information technology for you.
Great. Thank you very much for those words. Open mindset. Embrace the unknown, and definitely these thoughts and insights are going to help us in a long in our journey towards digitization and embracing the unknown. Thank you very much for taking out time and sharing these wonderful insights and thoughts with us. And a big thank you to our audience who's been so patient and posed such amazing questions. And I'm sure that you've got some valuable, insights, and the experience will help you in your journey towards automation. Thank you very much, and a very happy CA Day to all of you once again. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. Happy CA Day.
Bye. Thank you. Happy CA Day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Asthana. Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you, Mr. Venugopal.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being here. Thanks. Bye.